You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Passive Practice Profits, BrainTap Technology, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, ChiroPro Accounting, A-Line, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 279 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Melody Watts, and if you want to know more about an essential health model for your family, stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. This is episode 279. Today we have Melody Watts coming in from Idaho, and your team here of Chiro Hustle is coming in from the beautiful state of Colorado. Before we jump into this interview, Melody, we just want to welcome you to our platform.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here.
Well, I know that you're somebody that's so inspired to help the chiropractic profession. And even though you are not a chiropractor, you have been working in the chiropractic profession for over 2 decades, which I think is absolutely inspiring. And you just want to help more people and, teach them ways to stay healthy. And with that being said, our first question is always my favorite, which is what got you into the chiropractic profession? And would you mind sharing your chiropractic story with our audience today?
Yeah, I'd love to. So it's interesting. My really good friend, Dr. Martha Nessler, posted today, what did you want to be when you were little? Like, what did you want to be? And I was like, I actually wanted to be a chiropractor, which is really funny because my dad, I used to actually create, I literally was an entrepreneur when I was a little kid. I used to create this little massage store at my house, and I would like charge, however many dollars or cents for foot massages or whatever, and neck massages. My brothers and my dad would come over and pay me to, do a foot rub or something. It was pretty funny. And my dad would tell me, Melody, you have such good hands. Like, you should be a chiropractor. And so I was like, oh, and so, he's instilling this confidence in me that I'm good with my hands and I should go to chiropractic school. And so that was always my dream. I was like, I'm going to go be a chiropractor. Well, fast forward, 10 or 15 years later, I'm walking through the mall and there's a chiropractor there doing a screening. And so I'm like, sure, I'll get my neck checked, right? And so I get my neck checked, he screens me, and then he just says to me point blank, are you looking for a job? And I was like, yeah, I could use a summer job. I was like in between college, it was summer. And he's like, no, this wouldn't be like a summer job. This would be like a career. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll check it out. I'm into health and wellness. Like, that's my major. And so I go and I interviewed, and he was actually recruiting me for his friend who was looking for a CA, who was just starting up his chiropractic practice in Idaho, who's moved from California. His dad was a chiropractor. And so I was the 30th interview that this chiropractor did. And
wow. Yeah,
I was literally, I didn't hire anybody. I was like the last interview. And, he had me take this personality test, and I had all the right marks. I was like high yellow, high red on the disc. And so he hired me. And at that point, I was like, I guess I'm not going back to school, which, by the way, I was not passionate about. I was like, I'll figure out how to do it. Maybe I'll do night school. And I was just not passionate about what I was learning at school. So he starts taking me to chiropractic seminars, and I start learning the chiropractic story. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my calling. Like, this is what I've been looking for. He told me one day I had hives, and I was like, I got to go home and take a Benadryl. And he's like, oh, do you think you have hives because you have a lack of Benadryl in your body? And I was like, I never thought about that before. It never occurred to me, right? Because you just get trained in this society, in this sick care healthcare system that we have that's designed to keep people sick, right? And it had never occurred to me. And this paradigm shift was literally, it felt like this was a calling for me. It literally chose me. And so as I started to work in chiropractic, I just loved what I was learning. So much more about health and wellness than what I was learning in my health science degree, right? And so I just kept going to seminars and learning more, becoming super passionate about it. I was actually a CA there for 2 years. And then I worked in another office for 2 years, and then another office for 2 years. I kind of did this, what they started calling as the Mary Poppins thing. I would come in, make the practice explode, and then, go to my next one. And basically the reason for it was just, I was moving. And so I would move as a single young girl. I would move, I moved a couple times. And so my last chiropractor that I worked for, I realized that what I had created in these 3 offices was really valuable. The marketing and taking them to double, triple, and quadruple their income, right? Because I was taking care of the books, I was taking care of the marketing, I was taking care of the billing, and I was watching it grow, and I was looking at stats, and I had this knack for strategy. And so, and I was looking at retention, and I realized, wow, I really have a business mind. Like, I'm passionate about health and wellness. I'm a healer at heart, but I also really understand business, and I love making these chiropractors, I love helping them thrive. So fast forward 10 years later, I started a family, had some kids, was no longer involved in working. I was just a patient of chiropractic at the time, and I got Lyme disease. So that's when I got into more plant-based medicine and had to get into more functional medicine. And that's how I came upon doTERRA. But that's my chiropractic story.
Well, I think you segued perfectly to the follow-up to that first question is, you mentioned that you're in plant-based medicine and into doTERRA. What makes you unique in the chiropractic space now with what you're doing with that business?
Well, I think what I realized was my son had this cough that wouldn't quit, and he'd been adjusted since the day he was born. We did everything natural. He was home birth, breastfed, all these things. And then he developed this cough. And I'm like, what's this about? His body, if we remove all the interference, should be healing. But what I didn't realize was the interference over the last even decade has increased so much. The physical stressors, the chemical stressors, the emotional stressors, particularly the chemical stressors and even biological stressors like pathogens like Lyme and some of these other things that you see, Epstein-Barr and co-infections, all these things that we're now really starting to get a handle on that are causing autoimmunity. And so this was kind of beyond the scope of really chiropractic as far as, okay, the body that made the body heals the body. But if you have way too much interference, you won't hold your adjustments. And so the segue was chiropractors really in the last decade really started to focus more on lifestyle. I shouldn't say more, but in conjunction with chiropractic, they are teaching people how to be empowered in their homes. And so for me, it was a perfect segue to chiropractors. I was actually consulting chiropractors when I started doTERRA. And so we started going, listen, your retention is going to improve if you start teaching lifestyle. And so we started working on lifestyle workshops and how to get people to lifestyle workshops and networking. I was teaching them just basic marketing, fundamental marketing strategies of networking is what I was coaching on. And so some of them were interested in the plant-based solutions. We started implementing these lifestyle workshops that involved essential oils and things like that. And so it just segued perfectly because at its core, doTERRA essential oils suppress symptoms and increase function. And at its core, chiropractic is, empowering the autonomic nervous system while also making you feel better, right? And so to me, it was just this perfect innate connection. And so for the chiropractors that were open to more of the lifestyle stuff, right? And by the way, I worked for 2 super straight chiropractors, right? And so I understand this battle of straight chiropractic versus mixers and all this kind of stuff. But what I finally, settled upon was you can be a straight chiropractor and teach lifestyle workshops. And to me, you're offering much more value if you can teach people how to be powered in their home, not just in your office. Right. So we want to teach them empowerment in all places in their life.
Well, I think it goes back to the old saying in marketing is give people what they want and sell them what they need. And a lot of times people just have to show up. And I think that that's a big part of this whole equation with people that want to save the world. And it's one spine at a time, but it's also, letting people know that you can empower the CA to do great and build a team around that. And I think that a lot of times when people think about like this ideology of straights or mixers, they really cut themselves off sometimes from expanding their business and having a lot of growth potential, which, it's not for me to go into somebody's office and tell them how to run it. But I do think that empowering people with resources is something that you've really keyed in on after you looked at the behind the scenes, like, this is what we're doing with business. This is how, your guys are able to like make better income. This is how you can actually bonus people better. And you started to see like what was behind the scenes in these offices. And then you said, well, this is a vertical that's exploding. And if you guys want to learn how to grow a business, then you might want to consider doing these things in conjunction with your chiro office, regardless of your philosophical stance. Back to give people what they want, sell them what they need. And I think that, this conversation is very timely, specifically since this whole thing with the confusion of people's personal freedoms and people's personal choices for health. I think we have to bring the power back to the chiropractor, but more specifically, bring the power back to the decision makers for those families to stay healthy and vital as they, go into the next chapter of their lives together. So there's a lot of cool things that we're talking about here. And I'm really excited to have you on, because you see the perspective of being the passionate parent, but you also see the perspective of being in the trenches of working in the chiropractic profession. And you also see the potential for business modeling within the profession as well. So I think anybody watching today's episode is going to get a huge dose of influence, not only from a passionate parent, but somebody that's also all in for the chiropractic profession, which I think is a very unique perspective.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I am in chiropractic, right? Like, we still see a chiropractor to this day. My whole family, we have for the last, decade that I've had children. And so just bringing in these, it's a perfect mix. And the next thing that I think is really important to understand is, like, from a leadership standpoint, chiropractors have to learn business leadership. And it's not, like I said, it's not all about the money, right? Like, I want you to be wealthy as a chiropractor, but people have to realize when they're focused on business strategies, it's not so they can make more money. It's so they can serve more people, right? So like, if you want to serve more people, then you have to grow a team of like-minded, passionate world changers. And if you want to do that, you want to bring in partnerships that are going to expand your business so you can reach more people. And that's what doTERRA and working with somebody like me is. It's just bringing on a partnership and really understanding how to launch leaders and develop people. And when you learn how to launch leaders and develop people, your business is, the sky's the limit. So that's what this partnership offers. It's not just, hey, let's bring in essential oils and see how much money you can make. It's like, no, this is a partnership that is congruent with chiropractic, where not only can you make great residual income and become wealthy, but you're making a much bigger impact because you've chosen a partner that knows how to lead.
So what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a chiropractor who wants to see more new patients?
So I think lifestyle workshops and networking is where it's at. So it's interesting. I'm working with, my stepson just got promoted as a sales rep for Cellcore Biosciences, which is a functional medicine brand. And, he's always wanted to pick my brain. He's like, how did you grow? How did you grow? How are you bringing on doctors? And he's asking me a lot of cold calling type questions, like, how do I get past the gatekeeper? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it occurred to me, I was like, listen, I didn't grow my business cold calling. I have yet to run out of leads. Okay. So if a chiropractor knows how to network in his community, he or she is never going to run out of leads. Like, networking to me is where it's at, and creating events or where people can be educated. Like, that's where I came into chiropractic, is like, you got to tell your story, because stories is what moves people. Like, you want to move mountains, you need to be able to move people. So like, if you want to, so cold leads can be one thing. And I think there's a time and a place for that. Right. But like, if you learn how to network and you learn how to do workshops and get your community involved, the most successful chiropractor in the state of Idaho, they're masterful at networking. That's what they do. And they run Facebook ads, but guess what? Their ads aren't come in and for a $29 exam. That's not their ads. Their ads are, come to this webinar on, ABC behavior, kids behavior. Like, it's just, so they're going for the pain point, right? if somebody's pain point is how cheap can I get chiropractic, then maybe a $29 ad is for them, right? But if their pain point is, you know what, my son's got anxiety, he's not sleeping, and I'm really worried about his mental health, and that's what keeps me up at night, right? And so this workshop is going to speak to them. So I think lifestyle workshops are key, and I've got 20 lifestyle workshops, ready to go that I mentor chiropractors with. So that's where it's at.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. And here's the reason why I really agree with you is because you put yourself into the position of the prospect. And you also know the business modeling of inside the matrix of the office work. So when you actually look and see what people are like Google searching for, that's what you present to them for their community. And if people are looking for those types of like solutions through the internet, then you have to start figuring out, well, this is what we have to offer to people because this is timely. And the $29 offer, those people come in and they're usually probably not the easiest people to convert to care or keep in care because they're looking for something as the quick fix. And they're looking for the coupon style care package. And when you think about what it looks like long term, is a chiropractor really bases their value long term on PVA. Is how many times have I seen this person over their lifetime? Yeah. And those are the type of people that you want to attract. And you want to attract, like you said, who's the gatekeeper for the family? The mom. And if we can start bringing the mom into these workshops for a pain point, which is the health and wellness of their family, now we understand that the chiropractic profession can become stronger because now we're addressing more timely topics. And it also includes subluxation. It also includes innate intelligence. It also includes, the power that made the body heals the body, but it also includes what's popular on a Google search in 2021. So we have to marry the old of the philosophical resonance with the future, which is what are people looking for and what is timely.
Absolutely. And I think chiropractors positioning themselves almost as the primary care doctor for the family. Technically, I don't know what the laws are around advertising that, but like, if you look at families that are into holistic healing and chiropractic, like their primary care doctor is their chiropractor.
Amen.
That's where the trend is going, because the chiropractors, the messaging, is not spine and back pain. Yes, it comes down to the spine and the nervous system, but that is, we have to bridge the gap. Right. So how do we bridge the gap? We focus on the pain points, which is not back pain. 8% of Americans look for chiropractors for back pain. The pain point is my kid's mental health, the sleeping, the acne, the digestive problems, right? The insomnia, the depression,
husband's anxiety.
Yeah, those are the pain points. Yeah, we're going to bring it back to the spine and the nervous system, but this is what we're going to market to. Because this is what the pain point is, and this is what people are suffering with right now. So we have to go out and go, what are people suffering with right now? And that's what we focus on. And that's how we tell the chiropractic story.
And the thing I love most about what you're doing, Melody, is you're actually, you spent a lot of time in research and development to see what people need. And that's the beautiful part about what you're doing, not only as a business person, but as an advocate, is you figured out what people need. And you've already made this type of program for people to plug into, which they can find it out what they actually need to do those community-based events and to get more people into the doors and to share that story of chiropractic through what's topical right now, which is anxiety, depression, things of that nature that people are actually looking for, digestive problems, skin issues, things like that people are very much more interested in than the power that made the body heals the body.
Yeah, it's like you gotta get more.
I get it. But a lot of people just aren't interested in philosophy.
Right. Until you solve their problem.
Yes. And then they'll become the advocate that goes out and sends you in 30 to 50 new referrals, because now they understand the power that made the body heals the body, because you got them into a workshop teaching them lifestyle management.
Right. Exactly. It's like, I think if doctors are going straight for the home run, right? Like we really want to just hit first base with our patients. We want to open them. Right. And there's these different gates that open people. And so we start with them and their problems. Right. I think there was kind of this old philosophy of, you get them in and you tell them the chiropractic story right away, where you haven't found out anything about them and what's important to them and why they came to see you and, all the things. And so I think philosophy is amazing. I think it's actually my favorite part of chiropractic is the philosophy.
Yeah. But it didn't matter to you until you understood that there was a bigger game.
Right.
And that was staying healthy.
Right. That was it. I mean, for me in chiropractic, chiropractic got rid of my headaches and identified my thyroid, the source of my thyroid issues. Right. So to me, that's what was important to me. And now I'm open to hearing about the philosophy. Right. So people that, chiropractors that are like, oh, we don't want to focus on the symptom. We don't want to focus on the symptom. It's like, well, that's how psychology works, is people are focused on their symptoms. That's the truth. Right.
They don't care how congruent you are.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't care about your philosophy until you fix my problem. And now I care about philosophy, and now I'll bring you my whole neighborhood. Right.
So aside from getting checked and adjusted, what are some other things that you're doing for your personal health and the health for your family?
So, gosh, my house is like a health resort. What am I not doing might be a better question. So, we have whole house filtration, and on top of that, we do distilled water. We add carbon minerals. We have a sunlight and sauna. We have vibration plates. And not just any old vibration plates, like state-of-the-art vibration plates for lymphatic drainage and stem cell growth and all the things. We have biomat. We do body code and emotion code. We really are focused on essential oils, emotional health, immune system health, supplementation, chiropractic. We do other body work. You name it. We exercise. We read scriptures. We do family time. We have family meals together. We connect, we meditate, we do coffee enemas. It can go on and on and on and on. We do it all. There's probably you there, you doing this show, you're like, oh yeah, we've done
that. You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Passive Practice Profits, BrainTap Technology, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, Chiro Pro Accounting, A-Line, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle. Well, it sounds like you have a healing house and a healing mentality and a healing business. So it's really cool to be connected with somebody that's actually taking care of themselves. And I always, it's probably old at this point, but I tell people to eat what they cook. And, if you're going to eat your own cooking, then you can become an advocate for, what you believe in. And if you read books, don't tell people what to read unless you read. Yeah. And don't tell people how to keep a healthy household unless you keep a freaking healthy household. Yeah, so yeah. I think that's powerful that what you're doing is you're actually walking it, talking it, and living it.
We have no toxins in our home. We have no toxins in our yard. We have no toxins in our food, nothing. So that's another thing I just had to chalk on the list, because that's a toxic environment is massive. So
yeah, whether it's, self-regulating things or environmental regulating things. And I think a lot of times people think that, as we know in chiropractic, there's a pill or potion or lotion for everything, but nothing can supplant the chiropractic adjustment. And a lot of times people go to that aisle in the grocery store that's full of, you're like, oh gosh, what's over there? And then you bring that home and you wash your clothes and your countertops with it. So I think that, yeah. And we're at this mass bombardment of chemical toxins. And that's a topic that a lot of people don't talk about, and they don't know how to choose differently. And they're doing these things based on convenience. So yeah. I think that, having you on today talking about family health is one of the things that most people, I would guarantee you, will be really curious about having a better family health unit. So I'm really excited for some of the things that you shared with us and some of the things you're doing for your family. but you're not a chiropractor, and you're an advocate, and you live in Idaho. So how do you stay connected to your local community, or is that something that you really focus on?
I do stay connected to my local community. I have regular workshops because I still think that people right in front of you are the most important to serve. And then, of course, I have a global business. And so I do a lot of continuing education online and offline. So all my courses can be found online. And one of the things I do to empower, not only do you lead your leaders that work with you, that partner with you, but you also are leading your patients and your customers. Like you're their leader, right? So to me, something that I do is I offer an 8-course continuing education for all my customers. And if they finish that 8-course, they get a certificate. You are officially empowered to be a healer in your home. And that's big for a lot of them. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm no more reliant on this sick care system. I am a healer in my home, and I will rely on sick care for emergency care, right? And when it is needed and when it is prudent, right? But I am a healer in my own home, and 95% of our health concerns can be taken care of right in our home and with our chiropractor. And that's the philosophy I teach in my continuing education. So they get a certificate, they get a free diffuser when they finish their 8 courses. And the courses run from children's health to sleep to skin health to environmental health to supplementation to superfoods. So we go through the whole gamut of continuing education. That's something I let doctors plug their patients into my continuing education for free. Whether they're on my team or not, I just want the information out there, and I think people need to be hearing it. So I just offer that completely free.
So how do you see chiropractic changing or evolving in the next 20 years?
I think we're gonna continue to see chiropractic skyrocketing, and if we can keep the pharmaceutical companies out of our schools and keep philosophy strong, I think that you're gonna see the next generation of healers just massively boom. And I think that that's what needs to happen. I think the market demands it. People are really sick and tired of the health censorship, and so they are finding it. And I think it's just going to continue to massively grow over the next 20 years. And I think that what I'm hoping to see is that the profession really comes together, and, less judgment on ways that people practice, less conflicting philosophies. I just want to see the profession really get on board and become united. There's a little bit of split. I couldn't believe it. I was on Facebook the other day talking about something chiropractic, and a couple chiropractic friends that I'm Facebook friends with posted on it. Oh, chiropractic can't help with that. And I thought, wow, I feel so sorry for this chiropractor. And they was like, oh yeah, those philosophies are dying. Those BJ Palmer philosophies are dying. And I was like, listen, dude, I've been in chiropractic for 22 years. If you think they're dying, you don't know what's up. Like, I've probably been in chiropractic longer than you, and those philosophies are not dying. And chiropractors like you that want to go around and say, oh, chiropractic can't help with this, and this, and you're going to come under fire from these associations, these governing bodies that tell you can't say this and this and this. And it's like, listen, that right there, I hope that dies. That's what I hope see dying is chiropractors like that. It's like, why don't you just go become an MD and prescribe drugs? Like, because you're completely empty, if that's kind of chiropractic you're running. And I'm not trying to bash on chiropractors, but chiropractors, if you don't have the philosophy and you can't be united in the profession, then that's kind of chiropractic I want to see just kind of like die off.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that you definitely were very true with what you're saying there. And it comes from a position of care, not a position of judgment.
Right.
And I think when people really think about where we're going as a profession, it includes you, it includes Luke, it includes myself. And we are not chiropractors, yet we carry a torch that empowers people to know the difference between the sick care system and the care of health system. And it's not even a healthcare system anymore. It's such a convoluted situation where crisis care, like you said, is on point, but like disease care and management of disease is something that it's been sold to us.
Yeah, I mean,
marketed to us.
Doesn't have a clue about healthcare. Not a clue.
And chiropractors are in the care of health market. So there's a difference between healthcare and care of health. And the chiropractor is definitely a tactical, hands-on practitioner that is definitely involved with the family unit and interested in outcomes and success. And I think that's the difference between the healthcare system. The healthcare system was designed to give pills, potions, or lotions, and to tell people that chiropractors were quacks. So now that we understand that chiropractors aren't quacks, and the pills, the potions, and lotions are important for crisis care, but not for lifestyle care, now we're starting to get some clarity. And I think that that's a big part of why our conversation today was very timely, because now you're able to share as a advocate and as a mother and as a businesswoman why it matters to have a healthy family unit and what you could do for yourself, and include that with some of your own found philosophies along your journey of 22 years. And with that said, I have a big question for you. I think a lot of people are going to be like excited to hear, but like, when you got into this profession, who did you start to anchor yourself to as like your chiropractic heroes? Who did you start to like now after 22 years? Who are some of the people that have matriculated with you and spoken to you and really like stood out as people that you really admire or have learned from?
Just from day one, I mean, I have to give a shout out to the chiropractor that hired me and brought me on board. Craig Wilson, he's still my chiropractor today, but he would bring me to things like dynamic essentials, and I would hear from the greats. I would hear from, people like Ben Lerner, and, who else has inspired me is Billy D. Moss. So I adore Billy. I love his mission. I love his passion with philosophy. Sid, I can't remember his last name.
Williams.
Yeah. Sid Williams was a big one for me. And then just some of those speakers really inspired me. And Charlie Majors was a big one for me. So, those are some of the ones that really inspired me in the early days. And now, people like Josh Axe, people like, cause he's created, actually coach with him, in the realm of business and leadership development. I think he's done a phenomenal job with helping chiropractors really expand their vision and their business practices. So on the business and vision side of things, I think he's done a phenomenal job. Dan Sullivan has been a big inspiration for me. So these are some of the mentors that I really look up to in chiropractic.
That's good stuff. I have a lot of love for some of those people that you mentioned there, and we need to get Lerner on to an episode of Hustle.
Yeah, he'd be awesome.
So of all the time you've spent in offices, do you have any miracle stories that you know about that stick out in your mind?
Oh, I mean, so many to count, so many to name, and so many to count. I mean, I think just it's not just one little miracle. It's like a chain, right? It's like a chain of miracles. And so when you see somebody have a result, like just me, for example, with headaches, and then because of that, I learned about the philosophy, and because of that, my children didn't get put through the medical treadmill and be put on antibiotics and anxiety drugs and sleep meds. And like, because of that, my children are living now their best life, right? Like, that is a miracle. I mean, you might like look at my kid and go, oh, you got rid of his cough. That was great. Right. But like, no. Because of chiropractic, like my son has been able to reach his potential in life. So because of the miracles, because of the ear infection, because of this, because of the back pain. I mean, we had patients come in that were scheduled for back surgery because of a slip disc. And then they come in and they are a bulging disc. They come in, they get adjusted, and they don't need back surgery anymore. That's not just a tiny miracle. That's like a life-changing trajectory. Can you imagine if that person had back surgery, like for a bulging disc, And it's like we've got plenty of science and plenty of results to show that we can help realign that, help rehydrate, do whatever we need to do, and it's much more effective than surgery. So, I mean, too many to count, but it's not just that one event. It's the complete trajectory of that person's life. I mean, a surgery like that can ruin your life. So we're not just talking small stuff here.
Which at one point you thought was going to be the solution for a better quality of life.
Right.
And I think that's just it, is people trust a scalpel or a spoonful of medicine before they trust the ability of their body to self-regulate and self-heal.
Yeah.
And they want it quick, and they wanted it yesterday. But yet I've always been told this, when you come into a chiropractic office and you spent 40 years not taking care of yourself, 1 or 2 adjustments might help you, but it's not the miracle. It's the lifestyle and the longevity that you get to continue going to the chiropractor that will change your life.
I mean, we've seen kids, and I'll just tell you this. We've seen babies that are projectile vomiting and like so desperate, they're going to get exploratory surgery. That's what the doctor's recommending. We don't know what's wrong. Let's do exploratory surgery. They get adjusted and all of a sudden they have a bowel movement. They never throw up again. Oh, I guess we don't need exploratory surgery. Like, are you kidding me? This stuff is massive, you know? So I just kind of look at it and go, I've seen so many miracles. And that's why when these chiropractors, these ones that say philosophy is dead in chiropractic, when they start saying stuff like, oh, it can't help with that, I'm like, well, you obviously haven't seen anything. Because like, once you have that like conviction, you know, where you know, once you've seen it so many hundreds of thousands of times, there's no, you know, chiropractor that's been, you know, infiltrated by the pharmaceutical companies that can change your mind.
You can't buy out the truth.
Exactly.
Well, Melody, I want to thank you for being our guest today. And as we wrap up, why don't you tell our listeners some websites where they can order some of your products or sign up for your coaching? Like, where can people go to access what you have?
So if you go to passivepracticeprofits.com, you can see my webinar on how to implement essential oils into your practice. And if you want to learn more just about the oils and how you can get these oils into your home and just like, hey, we want to learn this lifestyle. We want to get this stuff into our home, into our environment, into our lifestyle. You can go to melodywatts.net and connect with me there. You can follow me on Instagram, Melody C. Watts. I do a lot of business and health tips there as well. And then I also do private health coaching. So you can connect again with me at melodywatts.net. So I actually coach a lot of doctors with their private lifestyle and their health. It doesn't have to be, let's implement in business right away. Like, let's get your stress and environment under control, and then you learn, and then you can go implement this into your practice. So that's really where they can connect with me, passivepracticeprofits.com and melodywatts.net.
Well, Melody, I really appreciate you being on the episode with us, and I'm looking forward to the long game with you and seeing how we can help each other along this journey. And thank you for being episode 279 of the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.